It was just after midnight. Two young Air Force technicians were inside a Titan II missile silo. Routine maintenance, nothing unusual. Then one of them dropped a socket wrench. It fell, bounced, and punched straight through the missile's fuel tank. That was it. That was the moment. A dropped tool. And suddenly one of the most powerful nuclear weapons ever built by human hands was sitting in a flooding silo, leaking volatile fuel, armed and dangerously unstable. The warhead attached to that missile carried 9 megatons of destructive force. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 3 times the combined explosive power of every bomb dropped during all of World War II, and it was sitting in a hole in the ground in rural Arkansas, slowly becoming a catastrophe. The fuel pouring through that punctured tank was Aerosine 50, one of the most violently reactive substances ever used in aerospace engineering. It doesn't need a spark to ignite. Contact with the oxidizer stored nearby is enough. And as the fuel spread through the lower levels of the silo, a dangerous vapor cloud began to build, invisible, silent, and incredibly lethal. Response teams arrived quickly, but there was no easy answer. No shutoff valve, no quick fix. Every option carried enormous risk, and every minute of inaction made the situation worse. Engineers were on the phone, commanders were being briefed, and somewhere above all of it, the White House was quietly informed that something had gone very wrong in Arkansas. By 3 o'clock in the morning, more than 200 people had gathered near the site. Military personnel, local emergency responders, civilians standing just outside the perimeter with no real understanding of what they were standing next to. The exclusion zone was nowhere near large enough, and then the decision was made to go back in. Senior Airman David Livingston and Staff Sergeant Jeff Kennedy entered the access portal to check pressure readings. It was 3:01 in the morning. At 3:02, the missile exploded. The blast ripped the 740-ton blast door completely off the silo and launched it over 200 feet into the air. The fireball reached toward the sky and could be seen for miles in every direction. The silo, built to withstand enormous pressure, was destroyed from the inside out. David Livingston was killed instantly. He was 21 years old. More than 20 others were injured, and the 9-megaton nuclear warhead was found in a ditch roughly 300 feet away, intact. Let that land for a moment. The most destructive object on that entire site survived the explosion. It was lying in a field in Arkansas, recovered quietly, and the public was told very little. The word nuclear barely appeared in the early official statements. It would take decades of investigative journalism and declassified documents before most Americans ever heard the full truth of what happened that night. What stood between that warhead and detonation was not superior engineering. It was not military planning. It was not protocol. It was luck, pure, unremarkable luck. And that is the part of this story that history does not allow us to be comfortable with. Because the 1980 Damascus explosion was not an isolated incident. Declassified records show that between 1950 and 1980, the U.S. military documented dozens of nuclear accidents, what the Pentagon quietly labeled broken arrow events. Planes carrying hydrogen bombs crashed, weapons were accidentally dropped, a nuclear bomb fell over North Carolina in 1961, and 5 of its 6 safety mechanisms failed. 5 of 6. Damascus was simply the one where everything converged. The accident, the explosion, the warhead, the near miss, all in one Arkansas field on one September night. Eric Schlosser spent years investigating these events. His book laid it out with documented precision. The conclusion was deeply unsettling. The systems we trusted to keep nuclear weapons safe were far more fragile than the public was ever told. One wrench, one fuel leak, one explosion, one warhead in a ditch. David Livingston was 21 years old, and he died maintaining a weapon designed to protect a country that barely knew his name. Tonight, in silos across this country and others around the world, people just like him are doing the same job, carefully, professionally, and in the quiet understanding that the margin between routine and catastrophe can be razor thin. The warhead didn't go off in 1980, but it was never because the system was perfect. It was because, that one night, the wrench fell the right way.